My boyfriend and I, late 30s, have been together for 8 years and have lived together for the last 7 of those. The house is in his name and 100% belongs to him. We both have full-time jobs. I make decent money, but he makes twice as much as I do. When I moved in, he asked that I give him $440 per month toward bills. Since then, I have taken it upon myself to also cover the cost of groceries and anything related to cooking. We take turns paying for dinner if we go out. He doesn't believe in marriage or the idea of combined incomes, which doesn't really bother me. I take care of all of the cooking, dishes, vacuuming, and sweeping, and he cleans the litter boxes. Our original agreement was that I pay $400 per month, and we take turns cleaning the litter boxes, but I absolutely hate doing it, and the dust causes me to have asthma attacks. So, we agreed that I'd pay him $10 per week to opt out of that chore. I technically can afford to live on my own, but life wouldn't be as financially comfortable as it is currently. I feel like our setup is fair. He usually does too, until we get into any kind of argument. Anytime we have a heated disagreement, he brings up the fact that he pays for the majority of the bills and tells me that I don't contribute to housework. I will admit I've always been a messy and unorganized person, and I have a tendency to leave random items in random places that don't make sense. So it's not uncommon for him to come home and find tweezers or a hoodie or a book or other random items just sitting on the kitchen counters. Most days I work from home, and I've managed to automate most of my job in a way that only requires me to really work for about 5-10 hours per week. So I do have plenty of free time. Our most recent argument is over his morning alarm. He has always kept it at a normal volume, but last week he changed it to a blaring siren noise that causes me to wake up in a state of panic. He says he needs it this loud or he'll oversleep, but I know that's not true because he never oversleeps. I'm a super light sleeper, and anytime his alarm wakes me up before him, I nudge him and tell him it's time to get up. I've never slept through an alarm, so even if he did, I'd be there to make sure he's up. He absolutely refuses to compromise with me on this and just says that it's his house and his rules. This is only the most recent example, but it applies to every single thing that I have feelings about. Regardless of what the issue is, he always gets the final say because it's his house and his rules. I'm starting to feel like he finds things that he knows bother me and then commits himself to doing those things to get under my skin. He says he doesn't. Another example is if I go to bed before him, he leaves the hall lights and kitchen lights on, and then gets irritated when I turn them off because he needs to be able to see when he comes to bed. If we're sitting in bed watching TV and he goes to the kitchen to grab a few cookies, he has to turn the ceiling lights on just to eat them, even though our bedside lamps are on and completely light the room. He often waits till I'm in bed to do his laundry, and then turns all the lights while he puts his clothes away. Having a bunch of lights on for no reason really irritates me. I'm not sure why. One of our cats has bladder issues, and we keep his expensive prescription dry food locked in the bathroom and let him in and out as needed. It's $130 per bag. So I try to keep the bathroom door shut to keep the other cats from helping themselves to an expensive snack. Almost every time he uses the bathroom, he forgets to close the door back afterwards and says he just forgot. We split the cost of this cat food. When I show signs of frustration over it, it's met with, "Get over it, it's my house." He'll come out of the bathroom and start to walk away, and I'll yell, "Hey, shut the door." Sometimes he does, but often he just walks away leaving it open or says, "You'll be okay," before walking off. He's actually gotten a lot better about most things in the last year or so, and I don't want to break up with him. We're happy for the most part, but I've been feeling miserable for the last couple of weeks. This new alarm thing has brought me to a whole new breaking point. Sometimes he's willing to talk about things that bother me, but usually he just tells me I need to learn to let go of things and stop being dumb. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Your boyfriend clearly understands that his house and rules are creating resentment. His official stance is get over it when you say his actions directly affect your sleep and finances. So I'm not sure why breaking up is off the table. Because it sounds like he literally doesn't give a shoot about you. And personally, that isn't a quality I look for or find attractive when dating someone. All of these things have very simple solutions too, and that makes him look even more unreasonable. Comment 2. Nope, He is not your partner. His house, his rules. What in jerk, Op? I mean, what the frick, girl? Why do you tolerate that? 7 years of his rules? Oh, hell no. You pay him to clean the litter box? He can't just be nice to you. He can't just clean the litter box because you clean the house. Where the frick are you going with this guy? What happens when you really need someone because he is not going to be there for you? Now, for the update. Thanks for sticking around. A lot has happened since my last post. So, the alarm situation escalated. I tried to talk to him about it again, and he just shut me down. I was so tired and frustrated, I ended up sleeping in the guest room. That's when I noticed money missing from my purse. Not a lot, just some cash I had stashed away. But it was odd. I asked him about it, and he denied knowing anything. But the trust was shaken, and I couldn't shake off the feeling that something was off. Then, the lights. It got worse. He started leaving every single light on in the house, even when he wasn't in the room. The electricity bill came, and it was through the roof. I confronted him about it, and he just shrugged, saying it was his house, his rules. I felt like I was hitting a wall with every attempt to communicate. Work has been my only escape. I've been throwing myself into it, even picking up extra projects to stay busy. But then, my boss called me in. Apparently, someone had been spreading rumors about me slacking off because I work from home. I had a sinking feeling. I knew he had been talking to one of my colleagues at a party we hosted, but I never imagined he'd sabotage my professional reputation. I started to question everything. Our relationship, my job, my sanity. I felt trapped in a cycle of pettiness and power plays. I needed a break, a breath of fresh air. So, I planned a weekend away with a friend. He didn't like it, said I was being dramatic and running away from our problems. But I went anyway. While I was gone, he called me, his voice soft, almost vulnerable. He admitted he had been feeling insecure, that my independence and success made him feel less significant. It was the first time he had opened up like that. I felt a glimmer of hope. We agreed to talk when I got back. I returned home to find the house in darkness. He had taken my words to heart and was trying to make amends. We sat down and had the most honest conversation we've had in years. He confessed to taking the money, a misguided attempt to feel in control of something, anything. He apologized for the lights, the alarm, the pettiness. He promised to work on his insecurities and to respect my needs. Things were looking up. We started to find our rhythm again. The house felt like a shared space, not just his. We even laughed about the absurdity of our past arguments. But then, the cat got sick. The one with bladder issues. We rushed him to the vet, and the prognosis wasn't good. The vet bills piled up, and despite our recent truce, the tension returned. We were both stressed, worried about our furry friend. But in the midst of it all, he did something unexpected. He sold his vintage guitar, one he cherished, to help pay for the treatment. It was a gesture that spoke volumes, a sacrifice that showed me he cared about more than just his possessions, his rules. Our cat pulled through, but the ordeal left us both emotionally drained. We realized that life was too short for power struggles and stubbornness. We started to work as a team, tackling problems together instead of letting them drive us apart. But the bittersweet twist? My job. The rumors had done their damage, and my boss was keeping a closer eye on me. I had to work twice as hard to prove myself, to clear my name. It was exhausting, but necessary. I couldn't afford to lose my job, especially not now. So here we are 2 weeks later. We're in a better place, but it's not perfect. We've both made mistakes, and we're both trying to learn from them. We're a work in progress, but at least we're progressing together. Thanks for reading. Aita for telling my mom about Dad's secret life and watching her kick him out. I, 29-year-old man, live an hour away from my family in the metropolitan area and am the only one earning a substantial income, $200,000 per year. My family, mom, 64-year-old woman, dad, 73-year-old man, sister, 31-year-old woman, and nephew, 4.5-year-old boy, all live together in the suburban home where we grew up. My parents didn't adequately plan for retirement, but I've accepted that I will eventually be their financial provider. They provided me with an amazing childhood and invested in my interests growing up. My mom still works full-time, 60 hours a week, earning $95,000 per year to help with expenses, while my dad, retired for a few years now, collects Social Security. My sister, a single mother and preschool teacher earning $16 per hour, lives with our parents due to her lack of financial independence and absence of support from her ex-husband. Recently, my dad underwent multiple heart surgeries, TAVR car, to prevent a stroke, but he still suffered a stroke within the last 1 to 2 months that left him with small vessel disease and vascular dementia. This has taken a huge toll on our family and shifted the trajectory of our lives. I moved back home to plan with my mom and sister how we will move forward as a unit to care for my dad. It's been an extremely emotional time. Part of why I wanted to move back home indefinitely was to make my dad's life a little easier. I bought him AirPods Pro so he could connect them to the TV, and I gave him my Apple Watch Series 8 to use its health features for monitoring AFib, among other things. I wanted to spend as much quality time with him and create as many memories as possible before his health declined too rapidly. I began looking at properties in the metropolitan area where I live to potentially move the entire family in with me. This would allow me to care for them while still having access to my network and the life I've built. I quickly realized that I would probably need to combine financial assets with my parents or co-sign to get a property suitable for our needs, while still allowing me some personal space. When discussing their financial assets, my mom shared she had $170,000 in an IRA, and my dad revealed he had $100,000 in a brokerage account, which he hadn't reinvested since pulling it out after the infection. 19 crash. While resetting his watch one evening, I noticed him swiping and deleting messages, which made me suspicious because he doesn't have many friends outside our immediate family. While accessing his recently deleted messages, I discovered a long message chain from the past month with a prostitute handler, including pictures of different girls and locations to meet them. I also accessed his brokerage account and found only $66,000 remaining, with several withdrawals of $3,000 since last summer, before his surgeries and recent diagnosis. I'm struggling to process this. My parents have had a strained relationship for years, and in my early 20s, I warned them to make it work or face consequences from me, a stance that has caused long-standing guilt, as it only increased my mom's resentment. She has always been the breadwinner, while my dad spent as if their money was solely his, never allowing her the comfort of treating herself due to ongoing financial burdens. I feel like an absolute train wreck. My dad was a good father growing up, but has not been a good husband or family member for years. Given his recent diagnosis, I'm conflicted about his remaining cognitive abilities. My plan is to confront him privately about what I discovered and then insist that he be the one to inform my mother, putting the decision-making power in her hands. I would appreciate any guidance, feedback, or questions that can help me navigate through this difficult situation. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. What I don't understand is why your parents actually listened to you, a 20-year-old, when you threatened them with consequences if they didn't make the relationship work. What consequences did you threaten to make two fully functioning adults with careers and lives of their own? To stay together when perhaps they didn't even plan to? I feel like something is missing in this story. Comment 2. Your poor mom, forced to stay with her aggressor to maintain a relationship with her son. And now that you have finally verified that he isn't a jerk, she is free to leave. Except she has no money left. Lovely. And you say, they didn't adequately plan for retirement. But what you should say is that your mom worked hard and your dad spent the money on prostitutes? Now, for the update, thanks for sticking around. So, things went sideways fast. I confronted Dad about the messages and the money. He denied everything at first, but when I showed him the proof, he broke down. Said it was a mistake, that he felt lonely and unimportant after his retirement. I was boiling inside, but I kept it together for Mom's sake. I told him he had to come clean to her, but he begged me not to make him do it. I gave him an ultimatum: tell her or I would. The next day, I found out he hadn't said a word. So I sat Mom down and spilled everything. She was devastated, more than I expected. She locked herself in her room for hours. When she came out, she was like a different person, determined, cold even. She said she was going to handle it and told me to stay out of it. I thought that was the end of it, but boy, was I wrong. Mom did something I never thought she'd do. She drained the IRA, all $170,000 of it, and moved it to a new account in her name only. Said it was payback for all the years she'd let Dad control the finances while she worked herself to the bone. She also kicked Dad out of the house. Just like that, he was packing his bags, looking smaller and more frail than I'd ever seen him. But here's where it gets even crazier. My sister, who's always been the mediator, sided with Mom. She changed the locks on the doors and took over Dad's old room for her and my nephew. Said she was tired of men walking all over them. Dad moved into a cheap motel and started calling me non-stop, asking for help, saying he had nowhere else to go. I was torn. He was my dad, after all. But after what he did, I couldn't just let it slide. I paid for his motel for a week and told him he needed to figure things out on his own after that. Meanwhile, Mom's been like a woman reborn. She's smiling more, going out with friends, and she even bought herself a new car, a little red convertible she'd always wanted but never got because of Dad. She said it was her turn to enjoy life. As for me, I'm back in the city, trying to wrap my head around everything. I feel like I'm in the middle of a soap opera, but this is real life. It's messy and painful, and sometimes people you love make choices that tear everything apart. Thanks for reading. Aita for dumping my boyfriend. After he sold my inheritance to fund his gambling, my 33-year-old female boyfriend, 34-year-old male, and I have been together for over 12 years now. I first met him in high school, and we were friends for a few years. We lost touch after he graduated, but ended up reconnecting when I was in college. We've been together since. About 7 years ago, we were at a crossroads. His friend had passed away suddenly in an accident, and he proceeded to spiral. He started trying drugs, staying out all night, and engaging in very reckless behavior, and it truly scared me. I tried everything to pull him out of it. It took a lot of work, and me almost leaving for him to start putting his life back together. A little backstory. I work for my family's business. I have worked for the family business since I was 18 years old, and honestly, it would be great if I didn't have to work with the same people I see on the holidays. My family can be, in a word, toxic. There is a lot of infighting and drama. Working with them is similar to our personal lives, stressful and chaotic. When my grandmother passed away about 3 years ago, I was willed some liquid assets that had belonged to her and my grandfather: gems, jewelry, precious metals, cash, etc., and their house they had had since the 60s. And honestly, this was a blessing. With that inheritance, I finally felt like I could pull free from my family and get out of the family business and take time to go back to school and do something I was passionate about. However, I had no savings at the time and wanted to get a decent amount saved before I quit. At this time, an opportunity opened up at work. The pay was way higher, but required 7 months of travel time a year. I talked it over with my boyfriend, and we decided that we only needed 2 years to save up what we needed. I took the job and prepared to leave for 2 months for training at the main branch. About a month into my training, my boyfriend suddenly quit his job, with no explanation other than, I can't work there anymore. I was concerned about our financial goals because of this, but he swore up and down that he would get a new one shortly, and that he wouldn't need any help with his personal bills. Well, a year went by, and he had only taken up gig work and temp jobs. I wasn't happy as I was having to travel all the time, and was having to be really frugal in order to get all our joint bills paid, while also putting money into savings. He was managing to pay his own bills, so I let it slide, since he tossed in what he could to the joint pile as well. Now I'm sitting here, about to complete my 2 years, and my boyfriend has decided to come clean to me. For the past 2 years, while I've been working a job that has been soul-crushing and has had me away from home for weeks to months at a time, I've missed birthdays, weddings, friends' baby showers, etc. I've sacrificed the last 2 years of my life to make enough to be able to live my life the way I want to. And he tells me last week that he has been paying his personal bills by selling the things my grandparents had willed me that I had left in a safe that was hidden in the house. A safe he only had access to because the hunting rifle is in there. And I thought, he wouldn't do that to me. I'm honestly in shock. It was a substantial amount, and it makes me nauseous to even try to quantify it right now. I've already set in motion quitting my job and have given notice. And now I have so much less than I thought I did. He only told me because he had figured out a way to pay me back and had gotten a stable job and was planning on using most of his paycheck to give to me until I was made whole. But this just honestly disgusts me. I feel so violated. More than that, I wonder if this is his go-to pattern now. Life is stressful, a lot of changes happening, and he just self-destructs. After what he put me through 7 years ago, I don't know if I can look past this. Yes, he came clean to me, but I just can't seem to get past this feeling. I look at him and just feel nothing right now. It's breaking my heart because I really care for him, and yet I just can't see anything changing. I feel so conflicted. We have been together so long and even have all the same friends and share a life together. Will we be able to come back from this? Or is this what falling out of love feels like? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Leave him. 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 And then leave him. Or leave him. 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 Now for the update. Thanks for sticking around for the update. So, the past 2 weeks have been pretty tough. After my boyfriend confessed to selling my inherited items, I thought that was the worst of it, but no, it gets worse. Turns out, he didn't just sell my stuff to pay bills. He was gambling. Lost a bunch of money and thought he could win it back by selling more of my things. He didn't. He just dug himself deeper. I found out because one of my uncles, who's always had a bit of a gambling problem himself, saw my boyfriend at the casino. My uncle's not the most reliable source, but when I confronted my boyfriend, he broke down and admitted it. I was furious. All the trust I had in him just evaporated. And then, as if that wasn't enough, my family's business started to crumble. My dad, who's been running things since my grandmother passed, got caught up in some shady deals. The business is now under investigation, and it looks like I might lose my job anyway. The one I've been slaving away at for 2 years, missing out on life. But here's the thing. My boyfriend, the one who's been lying and gambling, he's the one who tipped off the authorities about my dad's dealings. He said he did it because it was the right thing to do, that he couldn't stand to see me work for a corrupt business. He thought it would make things right between us. I couldn't believe it. I was so angry I couldn't even speak to him. I packed a bag and went to stay with a friend. I needed space to think. I've been there ever since, trying to figure out what to do next. My boyfriend has been calling and texting nonstop, saying he's sorry, that he's messed up, but he's trying to fix things. He's even started going to therapy and Gamblers Anonymous meetings. But I don't know if I can forgive him. Not just for the betrayal, but for the chaos he's caused. Our friends are split. Some say I should give him another chance, that people make mistakes. Others say I should cut him off completely. I'm torn. We've been together for so long, but I don't know if I can ever trust him again. And then, just when I thought things couldn't get any more complicated, I found out I'm pregnant. I haven't told him yet. I don't know what to do. This changes everything, but I'm not sure if it's for better or worse. I've been trying to focus on the practical things, looking for a new job, figuring out my finances without the family business or my inheritance. It's tough, but I'm getting by. I've always been independent, and I'm not about to let this break me. As for my boyfriend, I've decided to cut him off. I can't have someone in my life who's caused me so much pain. Maybe he's trying to change, but I need to focus on myself and my future now. It's going to be hard, but I know it's the right decision. Thanks for reading. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.